Hey guys, welcome to video number 5. In this video we're going to learn how to do the slip stitch. Now I've never seen a pattern that requires you to slip stitch off of a chain. So this is our half double crochet square that we made earlier. I'm going to finish up the last half double crochet of this row. And then you would turn your work. And let's say you were reading a pattern and it required you to slip stitch all the way across. So here we really wouldn't chain anything because there's no height to a slip stitch. You just go into your first stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull this loop through this loop. Turn down as well. So basically it's like building a chain, but it's not going to be a chain that's like a foundation chain. You're just going to attach a chain across the top of this project as you go across. And you want to make sure that you loosen up the loops a little bit. Otherwise it's going to be too tight and it's going to start to pull your work together, and you don't want that. So then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. I'll show you that one more time up close. So I just finished a row of half double crochet, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch. So I'm not doing any chains to go up any height because there's no need for that. I'm just going to go right in to the first stitch, pull a loop through it, then pull this loop through this loop, and that's a slip stitch. And then to set yourself up for the next slip stitch, you want to loosen this a little bit, so make that really loose on your hook, and then go into your next stitch, which is right there, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull this loop through this loop. It's your second slip stitch. And it can be a little bit trickier to see if you've worked this stitch because they're not as stretched out as other stitches. So we can just tell that we worked this one. So this is going to be our next stitch. We're going to want to loosen this a little bit before we go to the next one. Put your hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull this loop through this loop, and there's another slip stitch. Loosen it a little bit before you go to the next stitch. And again, even with this, you're grabbing both strands, yarn over, pull up one loop, then pull this loop through this loop. Loosen it a little bit before you go to your next stitch. Go in, yarn over, pull a loop through the stitch, pull this loop through this loop. Loosen it, go into your next stitch, yarn over, pull a loop through the stitch, pull this loop through this loop. Loosen it a little bit, go to your next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull this loop through this loop. Loosen it a little bit, go to your next stitch, pull a loop through the stitch, pull this loop through this loop, and that's how you slip stitch. And we really didn't add any height to our project by doing that, but some patterns, they require certain textures, and if you were to do a regular single half double or double crochet across, you could interfere with the texture that the pattern is trying to get you to create, which is why you would just slip stitch all the way back to the other side, turn your work, and then continue with whatever pattern you were working on. I'm just going to finish this row with you. Loosen this before you go to the next one. Go into your next stitch, pull up a loop through that stitch, pull this loop through this loop. And here we are, that funny side. This is just a chain 2, but it counts as a half double crochet. Loosen this before we go into it. Go into that chain 2, pull up a loop, pull this loop through this loop. And now we have slip stitched all the way across. Then you would turn your work. You still have all of your V stitches, but they look a little bit different and a little bit tighter. So let's just say we were going to do single crochet across. These stitches are going to be a little bit harder to work in than other stitches because they're so small and so tight. So let's just say we're doing single crochet, chain up 1, and because this is single crochet, that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. You want to find your first V, go into that, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And you really gotta like turn this over to see your next stitch. So we worked that slip stitch. This is our next one. We gotta really turn it over. There's our next little V right there. So that's where we're gonna put our hook. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And the same concept would apply if you were doing half double crochet or double crochet. Now in our next video, I'm going to teach you how to change colors if you wanted to change colors. So click on the link to that video. I'll put it right there. And I'm going to teach you how to change colors. And the way I'm going to teach you how to do that, it's going to be the same regardless of whether you're doing slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, or double crochet. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in video number 6.